Welcome to the Daily Edge. Steve, Jake, Mark, we are the Noodlebergs. Let's find the edge. I have our affirmation for the day, which is energy is my advantage. I bring passion and intensity to everything I do. And that is a great segue into our topic for the day, because the topic is going to be your brand, building your brand, how to do that. Energy is a major component of your brand, but I'm going to tell a story real quick.
Good.
I got introduced through email to somebody that doesn't know me, right? Knows a friend of mine. They think it would be good for us to meet. They introduced us through email. The first thing that person did was Google my name. Do you guys know what happens when you Google your name? What the first
I
the
do,
results are?
obviously.
Thankfully to our father, who was one of the first ones to do it, I think your LinkedIn pops up.
LinkedIn is number one.
It is.
That's the
number
first.
one.
Your LinkedIn profile is the first thing that pops up.
Google recognizes it as new data every day.
Do
brings
you
it
know
right to
what
the
your
front.
second one is?
Facebook.
Your Instagram profile, not your Facebook profile.
Yep, that's correct.
So, and I will tell you, like, I wouldn't say that I've necessarily dominated my Instagram, Facebook, or my Instagram profile with content, but those were the first two things that popped up for them. So they went, right? They go. Now, I've built a brand there, thanks to you, thanks to what we teach and what we do. I've built brand in both of those places. What does that really mean? What does it mean to build brand? I'm going to ask you guys that
Please,
question.
I would love to.
What does that mean? What am I doing? How am I building a brand?
He's salivating.
So you're not building a brand. You're sharing the brand. You are the sum of all of your thoughts and actions and behaviors. And that creates an emotion in other people that they either like or don't like. So, where you eat, what you drive, there's an emotion attached to that. It comes down to individuals. Now, we never had the tools to share with an audience or with people, our own brand. It was like whatever business you had, that was the brand. It was on the door.
People care now. People care who you are.
Right.
They always cared. There was
Right.
just no way to share it.
Fine.
Right.
That's fair.
I think that's the difference, is like the first action that somebody took was Googling my name. They didn't do that 40 years ago. They didn't do that 30 years ago, right? Like mid 90s when I was a kid, we didn't use Google. We didn't even have Google, right? MySpace came out when I was in middle school. So like
You guys
this
laughed
behavior,
at me when I was on Facebook, you laughed.
well, just this behavior of I get introduced to somebody or I learn about somebody, and the very first action I take is Google them. That creates a new dynamic that, as a business professional, as a human being, as somebody that is responsible for engaging with other people, you have to take responsibility for that.
Is that surprising to you, though, that they do that?
Not in today's world.
See,
It's not anymore.
You and me, we grew up with the internet, right? Anytime, still to this day, I think of anything. Where do I go first?
You put it in the search engine.
I go to Wikipedia and I want to know everything about them,
right?
And Wikipedia had their professional life. They had the jobs that they worked at. They had their personal interests, right? Like Wikipedia for mega popular people was the one-stop shop to find out about people.
It's how I built my vision board for my coaching career.
Right.
I went to every other school's website. I looked at every coach's profile and I was like, what schools did they go to? Who did they work for? What was their track to getting in the position they're in? I want to do the same thing. I want to have that vision for myself. So I went and got that.
So I want to do an exercise with you guys. If I were to say to you, fast food hamburgers, what would you say?
McDonald's.
McDonald's owns that brand.
Right.
That only happened because they kept sharing with you where this leader, this is who we are, right? Now this is a funny one because I used to do this exercise and say, who owns overnight delivery?
FedEx.
FedEx.
But it's Amazon.
Now it's Amazon.
Right.
But you know what's funny in my brain? When you said it, FedEx still owns it for me.
Right.
No shot.
So
It's on
this
anytime,
is my
baby.
point, is that those were brands, but now what comes to mind when you say Noodleberg?
Right.
There is an emotion that's attached. I believe everybody has one word that describes them. If you understand what your word is, the power is relentless. So I would ask people, why me? And they would go, dude, when you walk in the room, there's more energy than I've ever seen. We love when you're around, whatever. So I own the word energy. I want people to know that when they hear Noodleberg, they associate it with energy, and now a subset of that is leadership, sales.
We are 3 Noodlebergs, but he had the forward thinking to take the username Noodleberg
Yeah,
on
right.
Instagram, so he's the only Noodleberg.
Yeah,
we had to include our first names. So, but him, he does never uses Steve. But I think it's interesting. Like, you talk about building brand from a personal, perspective and your individual, and then you also have the company. And obviously, I run our company brand here at On the Ball, and I think it's fascinating because people are changing. Right, the original model was, I'm going to promote my product. My product was amazing. That brings eyeballs and then revenue that then we could then spend on marketing.
Yep.
Right, was the traditional thing. And now you're starting to see a lot more brands focus on the entertainment side.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the best examples was from the Super Bowl commercial. $8 million it cost to put on a Super Bowl commercial. And I'm going to mess it up and I forget the name of the team, but Ryan Reynolds soccer team. That is a lower level.
Well, Ryan Reynolds is a leader. You know?
Ryan Reynolds is in it. Do you know who else they had in the commercial?
I don't.
Channing Tatum. Right? And that's why I knew we were going to get here. So if you heard me say that in another episode, it was him dancing in the locker room. It had nothing to do about the success of the team, the football players, the kits, the jerseys, had absolutely nothing to do with it, but everybody was entertained and it brought the eyeballs to then ask the question of, all right, well, what do you do? And so it's interesting in your personal brand on how you're bringing it in. I know that we use the acronym FORD as one that we've always used.
And that has been.
But I want to go with the hurdle first, right? I want to tackle the objection because people are going to listen and go, "Oh, well, personal brand's not for me," or I'm not going to post. I'm not going to do anything. Listen, your brand exists.
Right.
Traditionally, the way your brand has existed is through your interactions with people. That's it. That's how you built your brand. You said energy, right? You walked into a room, you had an energy, and everybody felt that energy, and that existed for people long after you left.
I think a lot of those people still believe in traditional media outlets.
But even if my point to them is, I don't have a brand, or I don't want to have a brand, or I don't need to have a brand. You traditionally have a brand no matter what. Because every time you interact with somebody takes something away. Now, you could have done it on purpose. You could have done it by accident. But every interaction created your brand for you. The difference in today's world is you have the ability to share that interaction at scale with people across the board. So instead of it only affecting the people that were in that room or that person that you had the conversation with, I could share that exact behavior and interaction with as many people as possible, and then I extend my brand far beyond that little reach that I had in the room or with that person.
So this goes back years and years. When I got into the business world, I wanted people to know who I was and what I stand for.
Right.
There was very difficult to do that because I had to go to all these
networking events.
There was no way to create air cover to do it. The power of the world that we live in now, it's not so much who I know, it's who they know.
Right.
And who knows me. There are people, we traveled in the airports wearing Daily Huddle shirts, and people go, oh my God, those are the guys from the Huddle. That could never happen in before. But it all comes down to, regardless of what you do, you are creating an image in someone's mind. You either choose to control it or not.
Right.
So if you choose to control it, then the tools are there. And we talk about modern process. The modern process is a belief system that says, if you do not know me, you can't even consider me. So we have the tools for you to be aware of who I am.
Right. Who I am.
I don't,
Right.
Not what I do. Who I am.
I think the pushback comes from an older audience, and I hate to say that out loud, but I firmly believe that. I don't think that the younger people don't understand the value of making a personal brand or having a personal brand. We've seen people my age group become absolute millionaires, building personal brands and creating stories. Now, I think the number one hurdle for people older is they firmly still believe that their job is what should be forward facing.
Correct.
Right? We talk to
It's
them all
not
the time.
personal.
It's not personal. They don't
Right.
believe it's a personal game. We're talking about a fundamental thought process that
We get a lot of pushback.
They
with that.
don't.
Yeah.
They firmly believe that this world should be the logo first.
You should be talking
And
about
that's
our
why
business.
when
and
I
our
started,
business only.
when the thing is, I go, they actually do care who you are. Look at Pat McAfee on ESPN. If you don't know who Pat McAfee is, or you don't know the Ryan Clarks, or you don't know the Dan Orlovskis, or whoever your news outlet might be, look at the Fox News people. Look at Tucker or any of
Tucker
these people,
Carlson,
right? They all have personal brands outside of what they actually do.
Yep.
And you care, but you look at them and you say, oh, they're a celebrity. Why would anybody care about what I do? We do, right? We don't care that you sell insurance. We don't care that you bank. Nobody gives a shit, actually.
Everything is commoditized. So,
Right.
so understanding the only thing that's not a commodity is you and what you love to do and who you love to do it with. And so if you're willing to share that, you attract
But that's the
people.
thing.
There are
It's just-
fundamental truths that you taught me, right? Which is the more people that know you, the more people can help you. Forget about like awareness and consideration and decision. The reality is that your success is going to be built on how many people are willing to help you, regardless.
Yep.
When I was a football coach, the only way I got hired onto other staffs is because new people knew me.
Right.
People knew me. They would introduce me to a head coach that was hiring, and then we would interview. And if it worked out, great. But I got more at bats and more opportunities because I knew more people.
Did those people like you?
Yeah, absolutely. They
So
did.
it's a
Of course they
likability
did.
contest. If
Right.
they don't like you, it's the end of the trail.
Correct.
It's over. So
And the other part of that is that not everybody liked me, right?
So it's okay.
I wasn't trying to get everybody in the world to help me. I was just trying to figure out the ones who did like me to help me. And the reality is that we have tools today that give people access to you if you're willing to grant that access for them to decide whether or not I like you. And I'm not trying to get anybody to like me. I'm just trying to find more people that like me. Because if more people like me, then more people will help me. And if more people will help me, I will be more successful. It's foolproof.
This is fact. There's more people that are reaching out to me saying, wow, I love watching what the boys are doing.
Right.
Like literally every day someone says, watching Jake's journey, working with you two alphas,
Right.
and seeing him pop out and do, they're watching.
Yep.
And so the reality is that you are your own TV station.
Why is it important though?
Okay.
Why is it important?
I think you talked about it. You talked about the awareness and the people liking you and creating an audience. But I want to talk about the intimidation factor that exists on social media right now. The intimidation factor of the people who have 100,000 followers, the ones that
influencers,
have 2 million followers. And I'm not going to call out names, but if you want to do real exercise and to make yourself feel a hell of a lot better, start doing the ratio of the engagement on your posts, right?
Sure.
You have the 2,000 followers and you're getting 50 likes. Do that ratio compared to somebody who has 150,000 and is only getting 100 likes, right?
Yes.
Or you have the people on Instagram, and I do this all the time because you're constantly doing industry research to try to position yourself for success and seeing what other people are doing. And you're going to these pages that have 15,000 followers, 100,000. You're looking at their views and the engagement is 1,000. Right?
Yep.
They're fake. And we've commoditized the wrong thing.
Right.
We've commoditized the followers, even though they're not actually loyal followers, right? That's not your community. And it used to be that way where, oh, if I have all these followers, that meant I can do that. And now the challenge to get views and the challenge to get engagement is pushing industries forward and social media forward. You have to release better content. You have to focus on it. What are you teaching? What are you talking about? What are the actionable
but
takeaways?
you got to take it back, Jake, to the first conversation that you have with yourself. Am I willing to share things about me personally?
Right.
Sure.
Am I
If you're
willing to
not-
share?
If you're not,
You're not
forget
willing to
about
control
getting
the
good
narrative.
at it,
Right.
Hold on, but I don't. I'll challenge you guys. I don't think your brand necessarily has to be all those things. If somebody wants their brand to be, I'm a business person, then I'm going to know them as that. I'm not going to think of them as anything. Now,
Sure.
it might not be as great.
Sure.
Right? But if you have no presence, you're lost.
Correct.
Right?
You
And
need to
that's the
show
problem.
up.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's
Well,
really
that-
where the conversation started too,
Correct.
right? Was like
It's
there
either
wasn't
all or
nothing there.
It's either all or nothing.
Right.
Right.
Like, and that's where you have an opportunity, even if you're not
That's
posting
my-
every
Thank
day, even if you have an opportunity for when somebody
it.
Googles your
I got it.
name to have
I don't need you
what
to be
you
us.
want there. And if you're not at a minimum taking advantage of that, you're missing a massive opportunity. Now, then you could be maniacs like we are and
That's right.
have to figure out the best way to do everything and have to figure out like the right
That's
processes
So
for
let me tell you
everything.
a story.
But you don't have to do that to still take advantage of the fact that somebody's going to Google your name and the top two things that are going to show up are going to be LinkedIn and Instagram.
This started years ago before social media. I was doing some work for a guy, Rich Rogers, who we all know. And Rich Rogers said to me, because we had gotten hired by his insurance company to do some marketing work. And he said, I only want to do business with CEOs to play golf. And I was like, all right, when you're done smoking the weed, come back and ask me a serious question. And it kept me up at night. I was like, what if that was the root of all good business? If you could just market to those people, find a way to just because he had a relevant conversation. He was a golf enthusiast. He was great at it. He was a good teacher. And that was
an entire networking event.
The commonality was golf. What did? We went back and built a physical event long before social media that was him inviting CEOs to a club that they couldn't get to on their own. Boom. And he built an entire business on just because it was golf first.
Yeah.
Are you a CEO? Do you like golf? Do you want to get better? Yeah. Wow. Commonality. Oh, and by the way, who you do an insurance with,
right?
Not leading with, oh, we have the best rates. Oh, we have this is we're going to save you, whatever. That's how business is being done now. And if you find a way to share that you love to cook, to travel, to drink, to shoot, to do whatever it is you want to do.
We got in, and to tie it back to the beginning of the story, we got introduced as a sales training tool, right? We got introduced as a way to help this business with sales training. But what they see when they go to my page is former football coach, family business, right? Husband, father, uncle, all of the things that I'm willing to share on a daily basis. So I'm giving myself the best opportunity to connect with this person on what's important to them, not necessarily what's important to me.
It also gives them a look into what it's like to work with you.
Right.
If you don't like these things, it's never going to work. You're going to hire me. I'm going to eventually show who I am at some point of our engagement. And you're going to be like, I hate this guy.
So we have lots of conversations with people, right?
Yep.
Are they all sales conversations?
No.
If someone called you and said, hey, you know what? I'm really intrigued about what it was like to be a college football coach.
Great.
That's a great conversation. And that person, the possibilities that open up are, number one, they can become a friend.
Yep.
Number two, they can become a friend that actually buys from you, or they could become a friend that refers you, even better.
Yep.
I mean, how did that happen? If you go with the thing of, I just want to be there as a business person, if I don't need your service, I'm not having a conversation.
Well, the other thing that happens if you do it at a high level, let's take a step beyond. I'm there,
do you
right?
Know anybody
like I have a filled out profile.
That does it?
Yeah, this would be a great conversation for us, right? But so let's take it that next step, because what happens is when this person goes to my profile, they look at all the information about me. When they decide to have the call with me, because they decide they like me or that they like me enough to then engage, right? Now the conversation is not them getting to know me, because guess what the first thing they say is when they get on the call? Wow, I feel like I already know you. I've seen so much about you. So now I get to spend all of that time learning about them, which guess what? Makes me exponentially more likable to them, because I'm listening to them and they're talking about themselves. It gives me all the information I need to then go figure out, can we do business together? Can we help each other? Can we be friends? Can we do all of the things that are going to help us be more successful?
You mentioned Doug Chisholm in one of our shows. The reality is I hadn't spoken to Doug and hadn't said one word.
You're gonna.
Right.
I'm glad you're getting.
I hadn't said one word to him in 10 years, decade. I reached out to him. I said, Doug, I'm going to be in Phoenix. How do we get treated?
So it's funny, like
I see what you're doing.
And we talked about this, Mark. We were talking about the other day of how hard it was to leave football, because it wasn't like leaving another job. It was like leaving a bubble.
Yeah.
It was like nobody outside the football world could technically hire me.
Right.
Like it wasn't like I could take.
And nobody understood either.
Nobody understood it. No, I couldn't take my ability to call power or block power and go get a marketing job at some other job. It wasn't the same thing. I could go coach football. And that was really exhausting for me, because to me, it's like sweat equity. Like, you've put in 60 years, you've put in 20 years, whatever it was, like I had to burn that on fire.
60
Yeah.
And to me, that was exhausting.
Yep.
Right. And now in the business world, when we're talking about cold calling, or we're talking about teaching your salespeople to build brand and have presence online, when you're cold calling, there is no sweat equity you're building.
Right.
Nothing.
You're just churning through people that the next time somebody from that company calls or you call, they're going to look at you and go, F off,
Yep.
dude. You are your brand. You are
Yep.
now a cold caller.
You're not doing you're not
you
doing
are
anything
now,
to really build
right?
brand
And
there.
now you leave that company and you're somewhere else where you're no longer cold calling. You're like, well, I had that.
So we
blah,
talked
blah,
about
blah, blah.
presence at the beginning of this. How you show up matters. We show up
Mm-hmm.
every day on social media with value.
Right.
You know, we're not just posting just to do something. We're giving you something that if you like this TV station, you watch it.
We talk about frameworks, right? And like for us, we teach the framework of Ford: family, occupation, recreation, do it every day, right? That's how you can find content.
Did we get rid of dreams?
I like dreams. So
I'm
it's
curious.
Ford Double D.
Right.
Double
So,
D.
yeah, like to me, dreams are great.
Is there
right?
a Ford's garage
But
around?
keeping it with one D keeps
People
it
know what
simple.
your dream is. Your dream is to build this company. And
But I think the other part of that is like so the way I was like, okay, what did this person see when they went to my page? They saw passion, right? They saw interests, and they saw hobbies. In that level.
Wait. They also saw who else you know in common.
Right.
Listen, we are the Noodlebergs. That was almost like a scene out of Cool Runnings. They see pride. They see power. They see a badass motherfucker.
Insert all of the Cool Runnings images over that right now,
awesome.
right?
That is so good.
But I legitimately, like I thought to myself, I was like, what's this person going to see? They're going to see the things I'm passionate about, which are my family and our business. They're going to see my interests, which are the movies I watch, the books I read, the places I go, and they're going to see my hobbies, which are basically nothing. But like
Pickleball coming soon.
right? Or like golf every once in a while, right? But so they're going to cooking, whatever. Like they're going to see in that level. Like, and they're that makes me who I am.
My favorite.
That's everything I want somebody to know about me.
I commented on somebody's picture or post on LinkedIn, which I hadn't commented on in months or whatever. And sure enough, he started liking my post from 4 weeks ago. And I said to somebody else, I go, hey, if you comment on somebody's thing that you haven't talked to in a while, it'll send your old post to
Correct.
them. And they were like, really? I'm going to try that. And sure enough, the post from 4 weeks ago, and it was the same thing. I looked at what it was, and it was my journey. And the things that he were liking, I was like, oh, so you're leaving breadcrumbs for somebody to go eat.
So here's the traditional marketing was, I'm going to send newsletters. I'm going to do all this kind of stuff.
Which you still have to do.
Correct. No, wait a minute. I'm just saying, on a personal level, you have a conversation with somebody that's an intriguing conversation. They're not ready to do anything with you yet. What do? You go away? No, you're connected on social media. Bang, every day. Look at who we're doing business with. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we love. You stay top of mind. And then when you reach out, hey, how's everything going? Oh, I'm really glad you reached out. I've been watching what you're doing. You're doing business with a competitor of ours. I'd love to learn what you're doing. It's like, thank you for this tool that allows me to tell you my story every single day. And I just don't think people get the urgency of it.
They asked, people who were spending $8 million on the Super Bowl ads, would they continue to do it? And they said, absolutely. It's a bang for their buck. There's no way we can humanly possibly get in front of that many people.
Correct.
How many people exist on LinkedIn, guys?
Yeah.
I think, what is it?
There's a
billion.
It's a billion people on
right?
LinkedIn
Instagram is what,
Right.
2 billion, right? And it costs nothing to hit the post button.
Yeah.
It costs absolutely nothing.
So I think if you reverse it too, and I think it's really important, if you reach out to somebody that you want to meet, the same behavior is they're going to go look. They're going to go. Hey, I'd like to have a conversation
That's what I
with
think,
you.
and I really want that to be the edge for people.
That
is you
is
have
the
a
edge.
way to control the brand that gets built with somebody immediately when they get introduced to you outside of in person, which I think that's really important. Nobody's telling you that building your brand in person isn't important anymore. Nobody's telling you that in-person business is not important anymore. What we're telling you is that if that's the only thing you're doing, you're missing a massive opportunity to introduce yourself to people in a way that they want to be introduced.
And I'll talk specifically to my age group. If I walk into a CEO's office to interview a job and they see everything I'm posting, my beliefs, my stories, my everything, I'd have to believe I got a better shot at creating commonalities and connecting with that guy over somebody else. And that goes for any job. Like,
unless you're not a fit for them.
Right,
and guess what?
perfect,
Then you did yourself a favor by not getting into a place where you're not a fit.
Well, that's the thing is I think you used to go check social media for like bad things.
Right.
And now you go look for the validating things.
Right.
So let me take you back to when I first started doing all this. I would walk up to somebody, I go, I'm going to give you a TV commercial. It's yours. We'll produce it. We're going to do it. It's yours. oh my God, they would light up. This is great. Well, why are you so excited? Oh, I can advertise my business. Right? I go, try and pick a TV station that you want to advertise on. Now there's only 400 million of them now. Can't figure. So what this has done now, this social media, these platforms have given us our own TV station. We're creating our own channel that talks about who we are, what we do, who we do it with, and why. And when people know that, that's what, you know, the connection is.
Stickiness.
You know, it's such a, and I think it's a major takeaway if you want to be
it's the edge.
And
right?
It's the edge.
My edge for you guys would be to connect with your followers.
Right.
Don't allow them to be ghost people. Don't allow them just to be a number.
Well,
Connect
so
with
that's
them, find out why.
I think that's a great point that I want to make before we wrap it up, which is when you're building your brand, it's not just posting. Building your brand is engaging. Building your brand is commenting, is liking,
Showing
is
up and-
sharing, it's being there and being active. All of that is a part of your brand. So to understand today's edge, it's to take control of your brand and understand how to leverage social media in order to grow it and in order to engage with it and make it better and deeper for people. So
Bang.
Excellent job. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe to the show, share it with a friend. Thank you for finding the edge with us. We'll see you next time.